Hi, and welcome to another National Fiber screencast. Today we're going to talk about how building with Cel-Pak saves you money. The most widely known insulation is glass fiber insulation, and even though it doesn't perform very well, it does have one thing going for it. It's cheap. The problem is, saving money when you're building a house by going with the cheapest insulation out there is going to end up costing you a lot more money in the long run. So let's take a look at two identical houses. For our example, we're going to say that the glass fiber insulated house costs $350,000, $10,000 of which is the cost of the insulation. The cellulose house costs $360,000, or $10,000 more than the glass fiber house, for a total insulation cost of $20,000. These two houses are identical in all respects except for the choice of insulation. But here's one more important fact. The cellulose insulated house is going to save the owners approximately 40% on their annual energy costs versus the glass fiber insulated house. So we'll build our example assuming that the glass fiber insulated house uses $3,500 in energy each year for heating and cooling, while the Cel-Pak cellulose insulated house uses 40% less, or $2,100 a year. Let's see what happens. If we look at just the mortgage costs, the cellulose house costs $54 more every month because it costs $10,000 more to build. But when we look at the monthly energy costs, the Cel-Pak insulated house costs $117 less per month to heat and cool, for a net savings, even including the higher mortgage, of $63 every month. If we run those numbers out 30 years, we will have spent $19,325 more on the mortgage for the cellulose insulated house, but $66,606 less on energy costs, for a net savings of $47,281. By the way, that assumes that energy costs only go up 3% each year, which is exactly half as much as they've risen on an annualized basis over the past 30 years, so your likely savings is even higher. But the savings story gets even better. Since the Cel-Pak insulated house saves us $63 a month, money we'd have spent anyway if we'd insulated with glass fiber, what if we apply that $63 a month to the mortgage? Three numbers change, and that means huge savings for us. The total money spent on the mortgage drops dramatically and puts another $27,000 in our pocket versus the glass fiber house. And that means our total savings on the Cel-Pak insulated house jumps to nearly $94,000. And again, that assumes energy only goes up 3% per year. So it turns out, our $10,000 more expensive cellulose insulated house has saved us $94,000 over 30 years. It took 2 years off the mortgage because we've been prepaying it, and it's provided us with a quieter, more comfortable, more fire and pest resistant home that conserves energy. So the question isn't, how can I afford to spend more for cellulose insulation when I'm building my house? The question is, can you really afford not to build your next house with Cel-Pak cellulose from National Fiber? National Fiber, professional cellulose for cellulose professionals.